Hi everyone. So in this video, we're going to go ahead and talk about neutral atoms, so ones that are not charged, and also ions, which are charged particles. So let's go ahead and get started. So neutral atoms are atoms that are uncharged, and this happens when we have an equal number of protons and electrons. This is because protons are positively charged and electrons are negatively charged. So if we have an equal amount of positive and negative, it's going to go ahead and balance out so we have a neutral atom with 0 for the charge. But that isn't always the case. So sometimes we have something called ions, and ions form when atoms prefer to have a charge to them. So ions form either by gaining or losing electrons. The number of protons is never, ever going to change. It's always equal to the atomic number, that stays consistent. What we change instead is the number of electrons by either gaining them or losing them. So one type of an ion is a cation, and cations are positively charged ions that have lost electrons. So because we're minusing or subtracting a negative charge, that's how we get that positive charge. So some memory tricks to help you remember what a cation is. So we have option 1, which is when you lose negativity from your life, you become more positive. The second one is cations are positive. So cats have paws, so hopefully that will help keep that straight in your mind. The second type of ion we have is anions. So anions are negatively charged ions, so the exact opposite of cations. And anions get their charge from gaining extra electrons. So in this case, they're going to have more electrons than protons, so they're going to have a negative overall charge. So the memory trick for anions is it's literally a negative ion. So if you take those letters and underline them, that's how we get the name anion. Okay, so this is all important information when we're trying to figure out the number of electrons in either a neutral atom or an ion. So if we have a neutral atom, it's really easy. The number of protons is always going to equal the number of electrons. That's because your positive charges have to balance out your negative charges so that overall you're neutral or you have a charge of 0. However, for ions, we have to do a little bit more work. So the equation for ions, we want to take the number of electrons is going to be equal to the atomic number minus whatever the charge is. And we want to be careful to include either the positive or negative sign of the charge because that is going to make a difference in our calculations. So we're going to go ahead and try this out with some examples. So let's go ahead and see how that works. Okay, so we want to go ahead and work through some examples of this where we find the number of protons and electrons in the following ions. So if we look at these first two, these are actually both cobalt, CO. So if I go ahead and look at the atomic number of cobalt, I see that is 27. So both of these are going to have 27 protons because remember, we never, ever, ever change the number of protons when we form ions. The only thing we change is the number of electrons. So now I'm going to go ahead and find the number of electrons in cobalt plus 2. So in order to go ahead and calculate this, I'm going to take the atomic number, which in this case is 27, and I'm going to subtract the charge, which is plus 2. So 27 minus a positive 2 gives me 25. Okay, so for my next one, I'm going to have 27 minus, this time my charge is plus 3. So 27 minus 3, if I put that in my calculator, I get 24 for the number of electrons. So by changing the charge of my ion, I change the number of my electrons, but the proton number always stays the same for that element. So when I look on my periodic table, chlorine has an atomic number of 17. So it has 17 protons. So to find the number of electrons, I'm going to take the atomic number, which is 17, and I'm going to subtract the charge. Now this time I have to be careful because I have a negative 1 for my charge. So when I subtract a negative number, it's like adding a positive. So that's going to be like 17 plus 1. Okay, because remember, subtracting a negative number is like adding a positive. So 17 plus 1 is going to be 18. For my next one, if I look on the periodic table, potassium has 19 protons because it has an atomic number of 19. This one, again, I take the charge, or my atomic number minus my charge, which is 1, positive 1 in this case. So 19 minus 1 is equal to 18. So in this case, different ions have the same number of electrons. That is okay, that is allowed. It's only the proton number that gives us the unique elements. And then my final example here, I have sulfur, which has an atomic number of 16. So I'm going to go ahead and take the atomic number, which is 16, and subtract from that the charge, which is -2. So 16 minus 2. So 16 minus 2 is like saying 16 plus 2, which gives me 18. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope this help clears up the difference between neutral atoms and ions. And don't forget about those memory tricks to keep cations and anions separate. Otherwise, if you have any questions, please let me know. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.